Blaster, you play for Blaster?
No, I was vice president for operation for
For
Blaster.
Blaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played football though, so not like you who in Lofa were playing Namfo instead of football.
Tim, I haven't spent 5 consecutive years in my hometown.
I don't care.
So you always,
I don't care. I don't
yeah,
care.
I'm proud to be a Lou fan.
I know.
Man, your
I'm
first
Loma Crew.
job you
I
ever,
have no dispute of that. But
yes, your first job was in Lofa when you graduated from the university.
my
Am I
first job
correct?
in Lofa, yes.
Yes, as a bank manager, loan officer, then bank manager. You say you went to collect. Somebody told me you went to collect loan from.
No, it was not. It was not second to do. It was a guy who was in how they call the slippery road place where you went to Vahon.
Yeah.
So during time like this, the place is slippery. So if you took loan, if somebody took loan and the payment is due sometime like June,
Yeah.
that guy who took the loan is free because nobody gonna go up that slippery hill.
Yeah.
So when I went up to Lofa, I was terrifically young, but I enjoy Lofa. The guy took the loan and I went to collect the loan, and the guy told me, he said, my son. I said, yes, I took this loan when you were not at the bank. I took this loan when you were not at the bank. That must have been 5 years ago. Anytime the people come for this loan, I'm not here. So I said, look, oh man, that people's money, you got to pay the money. And the next time I come here, I will come with the police. The one guy passed on the side and said, my man, you better forget about that loan. So the man said, okay, and you come with the police. Let me see when you come here. That was the last time I left Vahon. I never went for that loan. With Sekou Dudu, we went to Western Tabet Centers to Lofa. You got to go through the process of introducing yourself. That's when I met Joseph Nimabaika, the stalwarts of Lofa County, Sekou Dudu, the guy who was the tribunal chairman. Who was that? He was in the army. Nakulako was that Kulako. It was not calling. I knew calling from Lofa to Abal. Is not calling. The guy was the chairman of the PRC tribunal, Gay Floor. So he put me in the jail in Lofa. I went to jail in Lofa as well. So in the administrative building, when I was introduced, he said, why you brought this little boy? Little boy, are you married? I said, no, I'm not married. Hi. How you bring this man to take care of money? He's not married. Those days were the days the children will come from the traditional schools, and you see them, you will know them. He said, my son, say you don't bring wife, and you come to Lofa, you gotta get a wife in Lofa. I was quizzed and I was advised, anything the others say, just say yes. And I said yes. It was interesting because the bank office was very adjacent to the market.
Yeah.
And that was when our market was on Fridays in Vonjima.
Yeah, it's still on Friday.
I don't know. I'm sure I left from there a lot of time. Foya was on Saturday. Vonjima was on Friday.
Johnstown is on Thursday.
Georgetown is on Thursday. Johnstown.
Johnstown is on
Babula Zoo is on Wednesday.
Johnstown is equally Thursday.
It's equally Thursday as well. Okay. Well, listen, villages that they say about passing away, they all converge in one place to have. So that Friday, the brothers girls from you will see how
the Bush School.
Yes, I saw them. It was a good thing to do, to behold. The first time to look at people that culture, and I appreciated that culture. So my days in Lofa were very, very rewarding. I left Lofa regrettably, even though I was jailed there as well.
Due to the war, right? The war took you out. Yeah. Anyway, I already promised you a trip to Lofa very soon, and I acquire a brand new double cabin pickup. I'm going to take you to Lofa. Don't worry about the bad roads. Yesterday we talked to an eyewitness that penetrating into Vonjima is increasingly impossible. Yeah, but we can do the detour through Kwadu Boni Bakedu, get to Konadu.
You got to pass through Bakedu?
Yes, and then come to SAAH Konedu and then come down to Vonjima. So don't worry, we still got to route out. Let me talk to George Mulbach, the chairman of the National Patriotic Party, a constituent member of the Coalition for Democratic Change. George, I'm on your back. Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, President. Good afternoon.
Okay, so let's fast forward. You were recently in Madrid, Spain, and later on flew down to Conakry. I guess it was all about representing government on flight, related flight stuff under the Civil Aviation Authority. Quickly, let's get an update. What did Liberia stand to benefit, or what does Liberia stand to benefit, other than just flying and getting the DSA and then coming back? Okay, what does Liberia stand to benefit, Chief? Let's hear you.
Well, first of all, the summit in Madrid, Spain was the aviation gender summit. They were clearly going to encourage females to get involved with working in the aviation sector. You have female pilots were able to pick the various aviation authority around the world. It's important to improve gender equality in the aviation sector. And that's the program I tell about the president of the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. ICAO is the governing body of that national specialized agency responsible for the aviation sector. And it has a clear responsibility to manage the aviation sector of the world. See, like, you set the standard for a country to lessen plane, or country to be allowed to purchase planes. Just like, for example, sometimes you always say, what is Air Liberia and President we decided to buy? And to use this occasion, we got make it very clear that one of the actual audits our airfield and look at our flight navigation equipment and certify it to meet with best international standard. We cannot be able to lessen pilots in this country or register aircraft in this country. So what you always say, oh, the government will get today want to buy the airplane. The airplane is not like you just take the money and put it in a check and go to the vendor and say, I want to buy a plane and give it to you. You have to meet all of the international requirements. So we have a meeting.
But you knew all of these things. You had cake party under the guys that you're bringing plane here.
No, the government took over. This government took over when the audit report on the Rwanda International Airfield around 15%. Okay. After the actual audit, the rating went to 19. Okay, and the foremost equated part of 23. So right now we will do the technical thing to see how we can put everything into place to see how we can set actual can come for our bodies, we keep to the team, evaluate and look at our technical team and look at our navigating equipment. And again, they will come up with their rating. And when it comes to our rating, it will move upward, and we need to meet from 60% upward. Then, of course, we can add effect. And that we allowed to register plane here, even power plane. Okay. Then I left from Madrid.
I came down to Conakry.
In Conakry, was a ministerial council of the Rwanda Information Region. The Rwanda Information Region has to do with the three countries of the Nile River basin, that is to say Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. And we met at the technical level, something in Liberia, and to see some amendment in the core. You know, there was a core signed between Liberia, Guinea, and Sierra Leone, coming together to have one director fund in managing the upper space of our of our airspace. That is to say, when a plane from the runway
enter the airspace.
Once it is about 10,000 feet, it would not be controlled by the RFI until it can go out of the airspace of Liberia, Guinea, or Sierra Leone.
That's the robot flight information, right?
And they will take the responsibility. That international organization is meant by the authority of the aviation sector, to the Minister of Transport, and at the ministerial level, and the Minister and the Director of the Nigeria Civil Aviation, Civil Aviation Authority, responsible for technical of that organization.
All right.
So we had a meeting here. We made an amendment to the core and also entered into a resolution. So that resolution was then signed by the state party. We have to do with the three ministers of Minister of Guinea and Sierra Leone. And the chairmanship of the ministerial council would then turn over to Sierra Leone. Okay, and this for the technical committee, chairmanship would turn over to Guinea. Okay, so as you know, the round flight Liberia cannot produce a secretary. We are posting it that the claims to the honor of the court generals, and Sierra Leone cannot be secretary of the Monroe Unit. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. What a wonderful update. But
we're able to afford to meet with the Prime Minister of Guinea. He sent on behalf of the Guinean government the best felicitation to the head of state of the 3 countries on behalf of Amadi.
The Guinean military ruler. All right. But while you were away, Chief, this flight, Echo World, was taken off from Monrovia, headed for Harper, transiting through Greenville, but had some trouble mid-air and had to return to the Springs. We call you up. You made your intervention information. Let's hear you now. What have you been able to gather as to what led to the troubled flight?
Yeah, I was getting that information when journalists from Liberia Green and Ferroso called me. I contacted my technical team, and we immediately contacted the Echo World management. And we dispatched the team and asked them to grab it until we can understand what was happening. An assessment from our technical team, they realized that once the plane went about 8,000 feet into the sky, it will not read any longer. The RPM is an instrument that would tell the pilot that the engine is moving normally.
Okay.
So that was slow. At the point, the pilot then decided to return for real landing. So he landed, told the machine that the engine did not develop the problem, but the RPM had the problem. And that's what the RPM had the problem. It could not read, the equipment could no longer properly read on the GPS that were then carrying the plane. So it was on the basis of that, he had to people let James Spring safely. So we sent one of our well-seasoned pilots, Captain Philip, who was also an engineer and also a pilot. He used to work with airline. He was flying airline as well. So he then led a technical team and assessed the plane and realized that there was a fault on the RPM and they ordered that RPM be replaced. So immediately we asked the management to ground the plane until that be replaced. So they immediately rushed out of the company to purchase a new one. Then we put our technical crew on the plane to flew the plane as far as Sino on the test drive, on the test flight rather, and return to Monrovia.
You imagine that you put your employees on board for tests. Okay. Oh, all right. I see.
So we had to, because you as responsible to regulate the sector, so you have to train people, and we rely on the judgment to find a decision as to whether the plane will resume flight. And indeed, that was what the guest told the plane had resume a flight. God told them that they want to see the plane, they have to until it can be certified. So the 2 days ago they called me, and yesterday, the day before yesterday, came to my office, and I went to resume flights.
All right. So let's go to politics now. You stay as if this man has not given up yet. You stay behind James Barney, giving him warning. Is he still doing business on behalf of the NPP that you have identified and asking him not to do so anymore?
I think the issue of Barney is history. We have a position for a plan that the committee made a decision. That decisions in economic and Constitution, the executive committee, as a convention, is the highest decision making body for the party. The executive committee made a decision and suspended Barney. They don't on investigation after investigation, and for to expel him, so he has been expelled. And people still masquerading and we just want to him. Expected also when you're taking on assignment, when you're taking on assignment, you can be managed with the party constructively. It means that he giving all the attention to the party, and you're no longer member of the party. So what we get, the one we give was just a clear clarification to all of our partisans that he was no longer a chairman of the party. Next question.
Okay, no, don't ask for the next question. Yeah, ask any more because I still want to know. So, is there any punishment lined up based on your constitution that if he's caught doing this on behalf of the NPP, what are the consequences?
Like the National Patriotic Party, like any other institution has constitution and register under the association law like here. So if anyone caught falsifying based on something of the organization, the controlling law would be applied.
All right, that's good. But still within the NPP, how true it is, some members of the NPP are agitating that your stand-up bearer, who is the vice president and vice stand-up bearer of the coalition, Vice President Joel Howard Taylor, is reportedly arrogating power onto herself exclusively, sometimes undermining other executive committees' intervention into the running of the party. How true it is? Are you aware of this one? Are there no agitations within the NPP? For example, maybe you want to back your stand-up bearer, but the partisans, some partisans complain that the motorbikes given by the coalition for she received it single-handedly and is distributing it reportedly from one point to the other based on who she wants to get.
Don't forget, the vice president is the vice president of school, and she has capacity to
but she's not the one who procured it. It was given by the coalition. She took delivery allegedly and is distributing it based on how she wants it, not how the NPP wants it.
I signed for the of the party. Where are the vehicles?
Where are the vehicles? Where are they? That means you, right? You took one. So, do you care to equally find out the root or the origin of the money that are being used to purchase these pickups? Beautifully decorated pickups, which one of which is assigned to you?
In the forthcoming election, electoral material, which MO the service show, and we have that and those are sources of revenue.
100 double cabin pickers bought from due payments. Who, me? George, did you say that I belong to the United Party? Or you just want to pull up, you just want to grandstand? I work in the government led by the United Party. I can admit, and I am proud of that. Yes. What do you know, George? Stop playing fun out of this interview. Let's move on to another one. You are the secretary of the coalition, am I correct? Just by being the chairman of the NPP, you are the secretary of the coalition. That's what I'm coming to now. Don't rush. You are one of the signatories to the registration forms of your aspirants going on a CDC ticket. Now, right? You sign on, right? Okay. Among some of those applying for coming to the next, were two individuals who were sanctioned by the United States government for stealing public money, and you saw it, you signed on to it. What came to your mind?
Liberia where this political party, the coalition is the national community, specifically the United that signed onto international protocol. For example, the protocol of the UN that protects individuals. So what is compared with the UN people civil and political rights cannot be deprived of. This is the reason why Donald Trump had articles of indictment in the United States, stay within the political corridor of the United States, continue to the president of the United States. You have to be able to the charge of the United States is the United Nations protocol, the UN protocol on civil rights. To these people you refer to, I think before the court of public jurisdiction and all things are presented before the court, and probably the graduate for the indictment against them, and they are contrary. The rights still deserve to enjoy the political rights being indicted and multiple indictments contesting the presidency in the United States. I think you have to get this right.
So you got no regret signing those documents of a United States indictee.
I have no regrets for receiving the convention on civil and political record of individual. That's another nation. That's another nation. until you have taken full control of them, and then of that civil rights, we cannot come on. Then this is why I just said to you, from Liberia, the Common Law Country, most of our law, the United States, just United States. Understanding that is contesting the presidency. Anybody that you are talking about someone who is accused, Donald Trump has before the court comes into jurisdiction, he has a right of jurisdiction. He has the right of
Okay, so Mr. Mulba, on a working day, first day of the week, we chose to organize a political rally called Thank You. And went on to embarrass, went on to infringe on the right of other people who are not part of you, and traffic, pedestrians, motorists on a Monday. Where did that calculation come from?
Our Constitution provides the right for freedom of assembly. The Constitution did not begin with on the states.
Thank you very much. I'm moderating myself.
Our Constitution frees us to tell our Senator thank you for the citizenship of the country. That's exactly what this party is a law about a party. We refer respect of the law.
On that basis, let me come up. You're quoting the constitutional right, which is inalienable to any Liberian, but this government is on record to have prevented the last mass protest by COP, then led by the Secretary Obaba Yoba. Police went behind them and stopped the protest. Yet you are here saying today and you don't need a permission to gather.
Listen. You are like in 2019.
But you did it the last one. Okay. All right. So your critics are saying instead of thank you, it was a form of goodbye to you, Mr. Weir. You still believe that it's going to be a one round? What are the variables? The crowd you put out on Monday?
Right now we speak. The opposition report against one another. Can Liberian enforce that of this country that people get black? You want to hold together? Not measures no. When I'm coalition with Democrat and Jane, or rather the Democrat and Jane are being caught.
But as an attorney at law, George, you should not have any problem with somebody going to court, man. For God's sake.
No, when people don't understand, I want to see when you get to the court. So, and that is a limitation. It's a limitation. qualification of being able to manage yourself. You cannot manage yourself. You cannot manage a group of people. It needs to say, it needs to.
Finally, how prepared is the coalition financially for the showdown?
Another thing I want to say here, I know you didn't tell the Dawson, recently, our coalition is on the Saturday with issue a statement that they wanted, they were issuing a warning that indeed after the election, they will ensure that there's a weird atmosphere in government will be taking to put their priority seats. I have a problem with that. What I want to see a public statement that indeed after the elections, if they win, they will ensure that all corrupt officials, irrespective of being their partisan, will be placed before the court.
What did they say? What did they say? Because that's exactly what they said. What you got a problem with it?
You are targeting Mr. President. We are
well, that. Yeah. So you might have shot yourself in the leg because you came. The people beg you, please come and audit. Or you said no. So why you got problem with them auditing you? If you are culpable,
I just sorry. So what I'm saying here is I want you to say, I want extensive, specific group of people, all those involved.
No, but they said they will audit the CDC-led government.
And besides that, I will also be the major integrity issue in the world, the violation of international law, such as the Commission of War Crime and so forth. I want them to elevate that in anywhere who is involved with the Commission of War Crime in this country, it will ensure at the first war crime. We also wanted to say that so as to showcase the desire to ensure a clean
Josh,
clean society.
The party said they will audit, or the opposition are saying if they win, they will audit you. We're not going to stop that. And some of you people might likely be stopped from traveling. I hope you are aware of that. And not infringing on your right, but could be stopped from traveling because they will want some pieces of information from you. I hope you are aware. This is what you should have done, and you failed to do it. You were behind old and dilapidated cars you call the government asset. You refused to go for the missing money. Then you organized one other bogus group, you say asset recovery. Millions were invested into it. It went in oblivion. Now you are afraid of being audited. Why? Just talk about yourself, eh? Talk about yourself and start speaking about it. Okay.
So
okay, so you got a question? You got a question?
I don't know why my brother is nobody is specifically targeted. I think the release was crystal clear that and underline the word the CDC doesn't win. Anybody who comes and wins, that present first order of business will make sure to have an assessment of what the previous government did. If you didn't do anything, why is Georgie just jumping like a bullfrog running away from a snake?
Sorry, I'm not George. You heard T-Max very well. You don't know T-Max Gelata? He's jointly presenting with us today.
Well, so Georgie, I don't see the point. I don't see the point. Like they said, you should have done this.
Yeah, so George, yeah, let's hear you.
Why you didn't?
I want this to now to be from a holistic one. It should not be targeted. You understand? See, if anyone, not just a specific group of people,
But it didn't specify. It didn't specify any specific group of people.
Corruption. I want the unit, but also come on to say those who are culpable for committing a war crime to also be punished. I wanted to.
But the release did not specify anyone, right? What are you afraid of, Josh? We're almost at the end of this interview.
George, do you know anybody?
Hold on.
George, do you know anybody who is corrupt?
Do you know anyone who is corrupt?
I mean, it's not you now. I mean, it's not.
So that is exactly what the artist said, that they will go after you people. That is auditing, and if anyone is caught culpable for prosecution, is you now left off the hook. So just let sleeping don't lie.
I'm also interested about the party to say they will order the legislature. If they don't order the legislature,
now you are targeting people now. Oh, that's why you want them to go. That's why their concentration should be.
The man is saying they are targeting people now. You want them to go to the legislature. That means we go from 2005 up to the time you sign off.
2005 up to present.
All right.
And they want to see a crime-free society.
Thank you.
Their mission to see a crime-free society will not be completed.
But Georgie is a society crime-free. He's gone. Right?
He's asking whether the society is crime-free.
Under the regime, people are more freedom. You have the right to freedom, exercise your right. That no one has been arrested. Of course, no United States not crime-free.
George, just wait. Let me merge you up. Oh, sorry, we missed out somebody who wanted to make intervention. Sorry, we are actually out of time.
Okay, I'm going for a meeting now, so
Josh, I know you. All the properties that you have now, you got them before you went government.
I know.
Do not cry.
Chris. Is that why that whatever property he has it before he joined government?
But why is he please scared again from the president?
No. I'm not talking about the president.
No, but you keep saying if anybody wants to target the president, you yourself you're part of it.
Don't form opinion. I did not tell you that as well as in government. I just think you cannot target people. If you are sincere with quote unquote will be toward corruption, it should be from a holistic one. You should also look at all of crime, leaders crime and collector in the country. Such as the Commission of War Crime to look at that also. If you think you don't want to elevate your
Mr. Chairman, you are in power. We cry on you to sign off this. You went to the United Nations, you renew commitment, you came back, you changed your tongue, we raised resolution, we signed on. You have not made any one step in establishing war crime code. The other people said they're on record that they will establish it. You don't have to worry. Okay, Josh. Thank you. I'm not taking calls. Seriously. Oh my goodness. Let's take this musical break to be back. I'm told the vice stand-up bearer of the CPP is en route already. This is a song she loves to dance. This one is started go SELLEE, but Senegal dear boy. And the office of the Vice Tenor Bearer tells me they are en route. Before this song, we were in an interview with George Sylvester Modba of the National Patriotic Party.
LCC hearing is going on with the committee, and you are one of those part of that hearing, or you won't out after.
T-Max, when did you get from George's interview on playing by the opposition or by a particular party to audit this government?
I don't know why George's fears. I don't know, because this is a normal procedure. When that was I keep talking about the CDC when you took office. That's the first order of business to have an assessment of what the previous government. So I don't know why George is. I wouldn't want panicking. What would be the fear? I don't understand that. So I thought you should let sleep online and have the opposition have said is that right to say that when they take over, they will have an assessment of what the previous government did, what they did, so that you can give a decision to where to begin. So I don't know why George was making. To me, that's fear tactics. Nobody was targeting anybody. That people should be targeted. I don't see that praise.
I'm saying, yeah, SKTV is playing in the background. Yeah. So, but I don't understand. You don't think they had the opportunity to do what he does not want a party to do? I mean, now.
That's why I don't understand, because I think, George, when the CDC came to power, they should have done that. That should have been first order of business, to have an assessment of where. So you see, as a result of that, when the government said, "Look, we met an empty covers," people were making noise. There should be some there should be some effort that advise that information. So I don't know why he was making all that noise for.
Okay, we're preparing now for this landmark interview. Councillor Bronskin's appearance on State of the Nation. Look, you might sit this way. Then please tell the conversation in the hall to stop. Yeah. Sorry, Timas. But he made some point, right? George made some point. He said it should be holistic.
But nobody said it would not be holistic. Except George is telling George, the Pontius Pilate would do, I'm washing my hands. So he knows that's kind of what the corporates will be.
And I also understood him somewhat. I hope I'm correct or I'm not correct. He fears for the president's post-presidency more than he himself.
Any audit. I don't think Georgia is worried about
any supporter of Mr. Weah
people let be sycophantic. That is not what I think Georgia will opt for. When I leave office, don't order me. So they got is waving his own flag, not what the president will want to wave.
Okay, so in part of the preparation, let's go to Ellen Johnson. Ellen just tweeted before we came on. She did it last evening. She did it this morning. Again about her being in Kigali,
in Rwanda.
She said, I see Kigali so clean, and got reminded on how Monrovia was looking when I was in charge. As city mayor. That was what she tweeted. I want to read it, maybe the verbatim, but people say she's throwing jobs. Sorry?
I think so, but the point is that Kigali It's one of the cleanest cities in Africa. So if the president, the former president, is there and acknowledges the cleanliness of Kigali, I don't think it's something that people should worry about. Truly speaking, our country is the capital city is less than what they want to be seen. And if somebody makes that effort, make that indication, we shouldn't be mad about that. Instead, we should learn from that.
But it's making a comparison, Chief. The kind of comparison Ellen can make, it can make people think that I'm the one you refer to. I'm the one. She's currently in Rwanda, and she's having a wonderful time. In fact, it is a women platform, and so let me take this break. This is the song that's going to lead us. Yeah, this is the song.
Give me that headphone. What is the music for me?
So I need an interpretation to this one. What is Senegal Diabo saying?
I can't use the because I hear it from because I'm the one that should use it. For the next level of this time.
Just no, just go in it. Then this one is working.
Okay, so we got an interpreter. Yeah, what's up, Chief? What's your name?
My name is Jonathan Joe, calling from EIA.
Jay, you're from Grand Bassa, right? Or Riverside?
Yeah, from Riverside County.
What's the difference between the Bassa spoken in Grand Bassa and the one spoken in Riverside?
They are just the same.
Oh.
They are just the same, yeah. You know, the county gave birth to, Grand Bassa County gave birth to Riverside County. Brother was
my man, I'm not here for all our geographic politics yet. Yet interpret Bassa to me.
Yeah. But the son is saying that brother has come back.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Brother has come. Brother, you might not know the meaning. Brother has come.
I see why she dances to this one so much she can get tired. Let me.
The
not suit for this time.
Okay, so I didn't call you to cover up politics here. Just say interpret, then you can be. Okay, so yes, wonderful from there. Title. Welcome to this interview. We prepared, and yeah, so 15 minutes are up to or 4 o'clock. So based on what we said, we late 15 minutes, which is not bad. So we go in 1 hour, 15 minutes for this interview. Without much ado, I have to. I'll let she. Let me play this one fresh. Let me play this one. Okay, so all is now set in Studio 2. Go strictly. And good afternoon to you, the listeners. We are all set, and it's going to be interactive intermittently. That is, as we move on, when we discuss a particular subject matter, later on we open the lines, we exhaust the question, answer, then we move on until we can sign off this afternoon. T-Max, welcome, State of the Nation. Okay, so Madam Vice Tenor Bearer of the coalition, not coalition, but collaborating political parties, the CPP, of Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings. I have the honor. It is my pleasure duty and so much honor to have you on State of the Nation this afternoon.
Thank you. It is my honor. Thank you.
This is Miss SAAH, my co-producer, Magdalene.
Beautiful woman.
Yes, she's partyless, but she takes SAAH with
Good. That's how it should be.
Welcome to the platform.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Okay. So, yes, finally, I got you. Yeah, we're going to have a wonderful conversation. Timas, don't we?
Yeah, I'm happy to see. I think I saw her some. Was it 12 years ago? We had an interview at Sky, and that interview gave me a different impression about who Charlie is. Our father and I set up the interview. And the father was in studio before. And I said, "But where's Charlene?" I can't wait for this. So when she got to this, I said, I expected her to come out with a lady's reaction. I kept pushing her, and surprisingly she was quiet. And I was wondering whether she came from the Bromsky genes. Because Bromsky pushing you back to you. But that was sometimes you get so prepared for somebody at the making power. So I'm happy to see her today. I was not here when she was selected as the running mate to Alexander Cummings. I just want to see her and what better now.
Okay, so let me take our minds back, and it's going to be emotional, but I love to do this one, especially when you shall have dealt with a statesman. This is your dad, one of his coming in Grand Bassa. Okay, so let's set this interview. That is Councillor Charles Walker Bromsky. Sorry about that. I just let you play it this way. But welcome once again. So this is your first time on State of the Nation, and I'm deliberately asking you to self-introduce.
I am the Vice Standard Bearer for the CPP, Collaborating Political Parties, which is comprised of the Liberty Party and the ANC. Mm-hmm. I am a woman from Grand Bassa County. I was born, however, in Nimba County. I'm a lawyer, one of the few women who runs a law firm. I founded and manage a law firm. I am a mother of 2 children. My daughter will be 16 next month. My son is 12. I'm a proud Liberian. I'm a patriot. I believe in a greater, better Liberia. And I'm honored. I'm honored to be here today. That's who I am. I'm a woman of God. That's very important.
It took the ANC a lot of time, or the CPP a lot of several months to come up with a running mate would be. Then I've heard that Charlene signed the waiver. District number 3 is somebody called District number 2 in Louisiana. She will be representative and crystal clear that she will be. And so when your name came out, I was asking, why would she do this? She would be a representative from Buchanan. It would be easier. It would be easier than any other decision. Why did you choose this? Which one is more challenging? Which one is more easier than you would have taken?
Sometimes we must do hard things. We must make difficult decisions. Like as you said, it would have been, and I don't want to be arrogant to assume I would have won 100%, but there was a very good chance. The probability of me winning the district had increased and was getting very high. But it wasn't about me. It really wasn't about me. If I had,
I'm getting that.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Okay,
go ahead.
If I had remained in the district, I would have been a lawmaker from Buchanan and affecting our legislature and our legislations to a certain extent. But to bring in real change and real development, I would have been limited. We all agree that the legislature is one of the most critical components of our body politics. And we need to improve our legislature to improve the lives of our people and to increase and improve nation building. But we also understand that the highest level of governance, really through the executive branch, you're on the floor. I said, I'm doing it for you. I want you to know that you too.
I'm getting echo.
Yeah, go on. We should done.
Could have the opportunity. There's no It's about the greater good, the greater calling, and that's why I decided to do it.
But so look at it. That's a risk associated with this. Representative, you'll be like I said, not simply that would not be contestable because you have some other guys that within the same district wanted to be representative. But the signals, the data show that would have been much easier for Charlene to be representing the people of
Buchanan.
Buchanan. Now she chose. She was selected to be. Why did you get this?
If we don't get this, I can still do what I was taught to do. I am very active. Very active. I believe we're going to win, but you and I will talk about what we're going to do to win.
What we're going to do to win.
What if I don't get it? This Charlene Bromsky, you'll see here. Charles Bromsky ran for presidency 3 times and he didn't win. And he was buried as statesman. And today, Liberians, Bostonians, everyone remember him. Because he sacrificed, he truly believed in a better Liberia. I intend to be the same way. I know we'll win this election. I'll tell you why. I know. Seem that way to some. Even if we do not, I will be active in politics going forward. I will make sure that district that I started will continue to fight, will continue to lobby, will continue to advocate, will continue to advocate the small one that I can develop, the small one that I can expand it to the county. I have been given an opportunity I will never be one to squander my blessings. So we will win this election. I don't have to make it to the legislature to impact change. It's a fast way to do it. It can be one of the most expedient ways, but also can be a very frustrating way. I'm not about this. Let me just be very frank. If we look at our constituents, what Liberian people expect of your legislature is really development. That's not what legislators are doing. The legislators are policy-making bodies. They're impacting policy and the regulations and they're informing our laws. But the people expect development. The people expect something that legislators truly cannot give unless they are absolutely correct. And I'm sorry to say that. So what we end up seeing is lack of development. Look at our cities outside Monrovia. It is void of any reasonable development, right? And the reason is because these lawmakers, go and the people and say this is what we're going to do, we're going to develop, are not holding the executive branch accountable, those who are responsible for actual sustainable development in these counties. It would have also been very frustrating for me to have sat in and not been able to push the way I wanted to push. So given an opportunity to go to branch that could actually bring this country,
let's go to the selection.
Just before you come in, I got a little bit confused. I'll connect you.
Okay.
He said some people love to come in politics and remain there and see it as a way of life. And it came to my mind that if she had contested and became a representative, there was a short term of her, I say goodbye, I've served and I have to go. Then later on, you come up with a statement that even if you lose, you will meet in politics. Then you're going to be like the very people that you're referring to as taking politics as
Thank you. Let me provide the clarification. I think that's very important. What I said was I will remain actively about politics if I lose in the next 6 years. So I will not be a representative, but I will be in, and I think I even said private. We'll make sure there is private development, a little bit that I can do. But whether it's through mentorship, which I've been doing, whether it's through teaching, which I've been doing, whether it's employing people, I'm an employer because I work. I will say most of this has been done in Monrovia. Let's just be very frank. But this will continue in the event that we do not win, which once again, we will come to that. But it does not mean that Charlene Bromsky now cannot impact change the way I would have been able to. So I would not have been in politics, just to be very clear. But let me also say to you, when I was running in the district, I would tell my young people, I don't think this is something I would do for more than 6 years as a representative. So we would talk to young people about preparing themselves. Because I would eventually pass the baton on to someone else in that district. Maybe we would have gone for Senate. Maybe we would have gone back in the private sector. Maybe we would have gone for something bigger. But I believe in evolution. I believe in growth. I don't believe in holding something into perpetuity. So hopefully that answers your question.
So let me continue from that point on. Let's look to the selection of Charlene. Charlene came across my radar. The CCP had, this is traditionally pronounced to be called Nyomli, whom your father grown. And the politician in that configuration as to what the CPP represent. It was one of your conventions, one of your understanding that the CPP will produce us. Because the Liberty Party has relinquished that power. Said, look, we're not going to feed anybody because we're going to help somebody. So we also able to expect it that Nyomli will feel that as the running mate to the running mate because she had her own cake and she ate it. She said, this is our belief. This is a political right to stand up to be and he will have the right to choose whatever he chooses to choose. So Charlie was not my radar. How did it come about? Let's go through that stuff. Nyomli was the end. And I still didn't see him come on radar. How did he come about? What was the selection based? How? When the news came to you, how was it?
Okay. So whenever this question has been asked to me, I always say, oh, you should really ask Mr. Cummings this question. It is his story to tell. But I think after 6 weeks now of my selection, I think I can share that story. I must be very frank and open and transparent. My name as a vice president for CPP had come up since last year.
Wow.
There have been talks about it since last year. As a matter of fact, when I was finally selected, people sent me text messages who were very close to Mr. Cummings, who had sent him messages. I mean, they sent me the text last year, 2022. She would be the best. Some sitting in Monrovia right now, some in the US. It came to my attention last year, and I didn't take the bait because we were focusing in Buchanan, number one. Number two, this was a new era for me. I'm focusing here. I don't know if I'm ready to take the leap. But I think number three, which is most important, I want you to know I am an institutional person. And I'm a person who gives reverence where reverence is due. And at that time, Senator Lawrence was vying for the vice presidency seat for Unity Party. She and her team were lobbying very actively for that seat. And I had been very vocal on the radio in Bassa and other places that if she is selected because of the Liberty Party, because of Bassa, because of that sisterhood that that women bring, I was not going to fight. I was going to support, even not fight, but I would be on record for supporting her. So when this idea started coming, it was I desisted, and it wasn't from Mr. Cummings. Last year, Mr. Cummings and I did not have any conversation, but people around him were bringing it to us, and I dismissed it. So when it came again, this year, when it first started coming, even before the whole conversations with the Unity Party issue and Mr. Cummings and Nyomli, I told someone, I don't want to disclose it. It came from a high level. That's not what I want. It kept coming. And then after Jeremiah was selected via VSP, vice mayor, I wanted to make sure that Liberty Party, and I was very adamant that I wanted someone from Bassa. We wanted Bassa. Liberty Party should have someone from Bassa. There were two people who wanted Liberty Party Bassa to be. Because you know why? The founding father is from Bassa, and the Bassa people have held the political bill. It is for everyone. Liberty Party is not just for the Bassa people. It is for everyone. But the Bassa people have they owned it. Yeah. So I had been very supportive. I mean, one day we'll all come out. I was lobbying for the senators from Bassa, and then Bosinga. And sometimes God, my life, that's a great of my life. Without arrogance, that when my father died, the people that was many people that didn't want to finish. She come go to America. When my father died, my mother was so brokenhearted. She could not stay here. She left to go to America. My children also were here. When my father was sick, they were back. between Liberia and the US. So I put the kids in the US because I had to be back and forth. So my entire life changed. My law firm lost clients right after he died because during my travels back and forth, I couldn't meet him. It was a struggle for me. But the blood that runs in me, then the grace of God. I'm not a failure. I'm not a quitter. I don't fight until it's time to fight. Then I fight with everything I have.
So you choose your battle.
I am very strategic about when
to fight.
What is my fight? So when this whole thing happened, I was here. I was in Liberia. The grace of God. I said I will not break. The people will not break me. The thing we passed through with Liberty Party. Then my pa just died. I could not even mourn publicly. I couldn't mourn publicly. But God, His grace. Every time I pulled myself out of politics, I'm pulled back in. Then Buchanan. We went into Buchanan City as a nobody. Because Bronsky was not here. No one to put my hand up. Those who I thought would repay the courtesy. You put my hand up, I put your child hand up. Yeah? Mm-hmm. They were the ones who fought me more than anyone. I always talk here. Matthew Joe, the CDC incumbent, who I was going against. That we rocked it. We had a battle, but the vengeance, the lie. I mean, Matthew Joe didn't lie on me, but the thing I passed through my own people. But God just kept elevating. Every time, elevating. So when I thinking, I said, because I always will push the other people first. They came to me. And they said, the team, the Cummings team, I don't have to call the names, their vetting team, went to Bassa and met with the elders. And the elders said, I would be the one they felt could best reconcile the county. The county had been divided. It's not a recent division. Y'all know what happened with my father and Bosinga Finlay. And the division in the county is what has caused Bassa to remain underdeveloped. Look at Nimba. We always talk about Nimba. We also talk about Nimbayans and how they stand together. I mean, there is obviously political divides, but when it comes to the interest of the county, they stand together. Bassa has always, for some reason, been subject and been prey to division. So I promised myself that I would never repeat, what happened. So I was pushing for the big people to go instead of me. God said no. I likened myself to the story of David and the house of Jesse. When the prophet Samuel went and said, I'm not saying I king, I'm just saying that sometimes God will have a calling for you and everyone will believe you are not worthy of that calling. But this little shepherd boy, David, who was outside, didn't call him in the hustle. He was outside. And Samuel said, there is somebody there. So today, maybe I was that lady, David. So when it came out, the news came out, that was not small. Hey, you understand? It was controversial.
They made that decision, obviously, when Nyombli was not on the list.
Absolutely.
Had Nyombli be on that list,
I would never have.
You would never have done.
I would never have even considered it. I have given Senator Lawrence such respect that people don't know. How people still are fighting. They have pitted us against each other when I was a nobody. When she was the political leader of Liberty Party and I was supporting her, they still, for some reason, decided to put me against her. Charlene want your job. Charlene want be the one. Charlene. And I said, but I'm not fighting my big sister. When they said when she decided not to support me, she was going to support the unity candidate against me in Buchanan. I still said,
on the representative level.
On the representative level, that my big sister was still called. I will support her if Joe Boca picks her. That was my position. Okay. So let me just conclude by saying, because I don't want to get too much into this. And I hope this is the last interview we will have where we're discussing her and Liberty Party. But I want you to know, if she had been selected, I would never have fought against her. I would be going door to door today to campaign for her if she had been selected as a DSB for CPT.
Chris, I want to elasticize this. Let me go further than that. So, Bong was there. Was the big arena, and the expectation was high, but the doubt was also huge. What could that be? People went to Banga without knowing exactly.
Bong. I mean, not Buchanan. You mean not Banga?
No, the selection. We knew exactly.
Oh, Nimba,
in Kanta.
Yes.
People went to, I think, the CPP went there without anybody knowing exactly who's going to be.
Yes.
So
including myself.
Including and somebody. I was watching that on television. Back in the States, I was watching that on television. So I said, well, how the hell in the world do we come to a convention? A living convention without a name coming up? when Horatio Gould made that motion that the nominee will be unveiled in that nominees county, he didn't generalize that whether his county or her county in the nominees county. So all rolled to
Buchanan City,
and you were selected. What was the feeling like?
When
feeling
in
was
Buchanan?
in Buchanan, at last my father didn't get it. Now I'm getting I'm on one heartbeat from that. What was going through your mind? Because I saw you sharing tears and crying that we should expect it, though.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind?
You know, I say, and I would get emotional. I have not gotten emotional in a long time, but I would get emotional because I'm not the typical politician. And my father loved Liberia. People don't know. He really loved this country. And he was fought by his own after his death, during his death and after his death. It was hard for me to leave Buchanan. Let me say to give up the race in Buchanan because I fell in love with the people in Buchanan City. And we had a great relationship for that 1 year and a half. And so for me to give up, it was a difficult thing. It wasn't easy. Some people would assume it would have been easy for me to take the vice-senator bearer, but it wasn't easy. So when you saw me that day and you saw me get emotional, it was a culmination of things. It was for a year and a half I've been working for these people. I believe in the betterment of Buchanan. I believe in development. I wanted to make Buchanan City the commercial hub of Liberia. It also made me sad that the Liberty Party members, the leadership, not the partisans, the leadership of Liberty Party refused to come and support me on that day. It made me very emotional. It made me emotional that Buzzingah Finlay, who he and my father had fought, was on that stage. I believe in a better Liberia. I'm a young woman in terms of entry into politics. And Tima, we are too far behind as a country, as a nation. When I went out, when I was entering just now, all of these young men, you know, but the battle cry. And whereas most politicians would be happy that you have these young men here doing battle cry, my thoughts were, why are they not working? Why are they not working? We have become so complacent with a devastating, declining economy and society. And we put politics in the middle of what should be true humanitarianism, you know, and love for our one. So it was an emotion. It was about my pa, but less about my father, but all what we had gone through in Liberia and Bassa and Liberty Party. So that's why I was emotional.
Did you consider this as the selection as a burden to serve or as a job to do?
It was a huge responsibility. I mistakenly used the word burden the other day and someone corrected me and said, don't use burden. It's a responsibility. I took it. I have no regrets. I sit here today never having regrets.
So you're running with Cummings?
Yes.
Who is known? I will press back you just because
yes, I've been working on this situation.
I will give you time because the selection of Charlene. And let's look at it. A country that you describe as being backwards, the government is proud of some level of development. Cummings has not been given the job as a typical politician. Technocrat, yes, he is. Charlene, career lawyer, well respected. Let's see the blend vis-a-vis the challenges with Liberia de SAAH. Can this team make it better?
Absolutely. Look, what Liberia needs more than anything right now is number one, strong leadership. Leadership with the political will to do the right thing. And leaders who are not indebted to any groups of people. Let me just deviate quickly. You know, in the US, when some of these politicians get elected, they have so much debt to various lobbying groups, right? Political debt, not financial debt. So you got to do the one, you got to do the one. You can't tell the motorcyclist, Papa, you're still on the side road. Eh? You can't tell the concessionaires who have MDAs with us, you made a promise to build a hospital in Buchanan City. You have not built a hospital because not a small something, put it in their bucket. So the career politicians are already in bed and indebted to elements that don't help to develop our country. Liberians need strong leaders that have the political will to say no to negative foreign influences, to say no to domestic.
Strong like Charles Taylor was, or what are you talking about? Strong like Prince Johnson was in the war. What are you talking about?
I'm saying strong like Alexander Cummings is. How is he strong? He's deliberate. He's intentional. This man, look what the man was lied on. There was a concerted gang to intentionally disparage this man, denigrate his character. Mr. Cummings got packed up and left. Mr. Cummings remained calm. He went to court every day. He won the case. He came back stronger. He didn't denigrate anyone. He's a law-abiding citizen, somebody who is strong. We need jobs. We need to expand our economy. This is his expertise. We do not need anyone who doesn't have the vitality, the energy, the wherewithal, the experience to move the country forward. At the end of the day, the global economy keeps going every day. Nobody waiting for Liberia to get it together. We have not had one international investor come, a new investor, a credible investor, come into this country. MCC, I think we just once again failed. Yeah. We know that since EJS time, there have not been any real concessionaires who've brought, any productivity, financial productivity into our country. We are dying, and Liberian people taking it for joke. I always tell Liberians that Mr. Cummings has been the head administrator of a global company whose annual budget exceeds that of the country, Liberia. If this man was able to climb to the ranks that he did as a Black man, African, in America, in South Africa, in Nigeria, there is something that he brings to the table, some intentionality, some power, some strong will. That's what Liberia needs. That's what Ghana had before it moved on. Look at Rwanda. Nobody want to talk about it, but look what's happening. We sometimes, as Africans, we sheep. Human beings are sheep. We follow the shepherd. If our leader is waking up early every morning and getting to work, Liberians will be up in the morning at work. Corruption will cease. We do not have time. We don't have time to play. Children's lives, people's lives are at stake. Mr. Cummings is what we need. So first and foremost, as I said, the economy. That's something that we intend to expand. How do we do that? We're going to be focusing on the agriculture. Some discussions that we had.
That's what he's going to do.
Yes. The only difference, their politics in here is difficult for me because you're not a relationship with other people. But let's talk about Uncle Joe, right? Or let's talk about Unity Party. I'm not going to identify.
That's why the Unity Party says we'll do anyway.
The Unity Party has a standard bearer who was an agriculturalist, who has an experience in that area, who we have yet to see if he himself has done any private agriculture. I am a lawyer. I can't come to y'all and tell y'all, say, I know rule of law, I believe in rule of law justice, but I get law firm. I do that. I want to know what efforts, what steps has the Unity Party's leadership done to show to Liberians that they in fact understand agriculture, that they even have a farm somewhere, that they're employing people right now, that their farm, because of what they're going to, their own skills and understanding of the agriculture sector, that they farm in Lofa. Look how many people this farm has employed. That the former vice president, that he has been called upon by council to talk about agriculture, that he has gone to the global economic forum to talk about issues of agriculture. I don't know. We're just saying that agriculture is his era. But we have not seen anything to let the Liberian people know that truly, with a unity party government, agriculture will in fact expand. Mr. Cummings can show you that the economy will expand. There will be job creation. There will be proper administration and oversight of our money, because that's what he did. So agriculture, and not only is, if you're saying now Mr. Cummings' expertise, the beauty of being a manager and an administrator, you don't need to know everything, but you know how to identify experts. So we're putting together an agricultural policy now that within the first 100 days, we're going to be having symposium and forums with farmers and bringing folks in to inform the Liberian farmers and get advice from them as to how do we increase rice production, productivity, cassava. We want to make sure that our fisheries department, our fisheries sector is expanding. We want to make sure people are not taking Liberian waters and our resources and our waters for granted. But in fact, that I'm from Bassa. They call us Murphys. We're Murphy sellers. The men and women on the coast of Bassa, the fisheries industry should be booming in Bassa, but it's not. I have sat with those women who wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go on the shores, to go catch fish, to go get fish, to go and sell. We should be ensuring that those women are empowered, the fishermen are protected, and that our waters, that any production that happens with fish, that when fish don't come, don't take our fish, but they make sure that we do production with fish here in Liberia and sell it.
Okay. All right. So you're tuning in to State of the Nation on Truth FM 96.1 off. By the way, let me offer apology to those of you who are catching us online. There was some audio difficulties. We managed to stabilize it, and so I'm back now. Now that the audio is stable, I'm ready to. So yes, I'm ready to step with this audio situation. But sincerely apologize. Sometimes you have to even get your earpiece off. Okay, so.
Chris, can I ask you a question? Were they hearing us, or were just okay? Great.
Yes. Okay. It was clear on the radio. Sometime online it started to, but it's stabilized now. So here we are. Your father was figurative in 2017. He went on to say, let me just paraphrase, there is a pregnancy. That pregnancy has an evil child. We should not let that child to be given birth to. Nobody understood. Myself, as wise as I am, I don't know what that meant. And anyway, there was a breath. We got a new government. We didn't know who you were referring to. There was a breath. But here we are now. Fast forward 2023. No matter what we do, in 83 days we should have elections. Maybe a run-up, and then have a new president, whether retainer or a new president. Where particularly you think this government has flunked and don't deserve a 6-year term once again.
Yes. So let me first start by saying, yes, he said there was an evil pregnancy and that we had to terminate. Yes. Yeah. And the evil pregnancy during that time referred to a lot of things. It referred to the tribalism that was rampant in the 2017 campaign. And it is something that I feel I must speak to every day, because it's truly an evil, wicked narrative and rhetoric in our body politics that are used by people who don't have the competence, who don't have anything to show for it, for what they have done, and who prey on the vulnerabilities and the fears and our dark history. Liberia has a dark history. There were things that happened in this country based on tribe, based on elitism, that we should regret. We know how people were treated in this country. Some by Congo people, some by the indigenous people. It is something we regret. But can we look to Rwanda? Can we look to other countries who acknowledge that tribalism, what it did to them, and say, we will move on. We will never revisit our past. We will never have the Tutsis and the Hutus against each other. Can Liberians do that? Today we have older people teaching the young people about tribe, when really there is no such thing as, one tribe now over the other. We are all Liberians. Oh, yes, suffering. We're all in this declining society. So one thing he spoke about was that evil pregnancy had to do with that. It had to do with what has happened in the past 6 years. We predicted it. We predicted that an administration will come into power with no plan. With no plan. The project let him. I said, I always say, I will never disrespect His Excellency or his office. I myself let him. I like him, right? He's a people like him. You cannot like him. The thing where he went and said in Basa the other day about what is it? The Google, the glasses. He said, "What you want fix?" The man can just talk at us, and we enjoy it. But despite our likeness for him, there needs to be more than just a likability from the leadership. There needs to be a plan. What is the Pro-Po agenda? I don't know. I think anybody understand what the Pro-Po agenda is. But Liberian people say, oh, I remember 2017, we had Pro-Po. People used to beat Pro-Po on their home, but nobody can tell you what the Pro-Po agenda is. So we are here today now. These were some of the things that he was referring to. Now, let's talk about, I don't want to get into the failures of the current administration because that's not my job. I need to bring their people on to talk about it. But let's talk about where Liberia needs to go. We've talked about the economy. Let's talk about our young people. We have a national security crisis knocking at our doorstep and we're playing with it. It's knocking. All of us were, I'm old enough to have been here, to have experienced the Civil War. I'm old enough to remember the coup. I don't think Liberia will pick up guns again. But this thing that we have knocking on our doorstep, this drug crisis that we are playing with, where we see videos of men, women, boys, and girls who are so high, they're rolling around in the street. A young girl the other day, 12 years old, started prostituting at age 10 for kush. And we just had basically exonerated these foreigners who came and brought drugs to our country. We don't understand. The DEA is not talking. We're not. They just passed a new drug. It's not about passing laws. It's about enforcement. I want the president out on the streets every day. I don't want him in Bassa rolling down with Son, the Bassa musician. I want him to go from ghetto to ghetto and explain let us hear him. Let us tell him how serious this drug crisis is. Let us tell him what enforcement mechanisms he's putting in. Let him fire the DEA boss. Fire him. If the American now, they finish terminating the DEA boss because of the crisis we have here in America. America waged war. They declared war on drugs. During the crack epidemic, we're sitting here joking with it. It's an epidemic. We don't have jobs. The economy is shrinking. The government getting larger. Our children are dying on the streets because they have no hope. Because poverty is their middle name, because hunger is their ma name, because abuse is their pa name. We're sitting here joking about this, talking tribalism, talking somebody sleeping and somebody trying to fix something. So it's not my place to talk about their failures. It's my place to let you know that Liberia is declining and Mr. Cummings is serious about changing it.
But it is all these failures you're going to convince the people because as far as the incumbent is aware, he has done massively well. And in fact, they push it for a first round victory. But if you don't want to mention the failure, how are you going to convince the people that these are the reasons that these people should not be retained?
I think we just mentioned some of the failures. I think we mentioned the failures. Look at the roads. Look at the roads. We have done, and for me, I would give him some feeder roads have been done in the district. But beyond that, Mr. Cummings had to go to the southeast where the president, the pro tem, the speaker, the deputy speaker, all of them are from the southeast. For CPP to make a visit to the southeast, guess where Mr. Cummings had to go through? Côte d'Ivoire. That is a blemish. It's a shame on us. It's a shame on us. But we want to detract our people. We want to drug the masses and make them go to sleep thinking, y'all don't worry, they may finish winning first round. Don't even vote. No, it's not true. They will not win on the first round. That's smoke and mirrors. It's political propaganda. Liberians go out and vote. It will not happen.
Yeah. Magdalene has a question before we take the transition. Yes, Mark?
Yeah, so I can proudly say I support an alliance, I support women that bring a lot to the table. and I also support women who are doing great in their current positions. And I don't support women who are given the opportunity to serve but have disappointed the people. And then I say, vote them out. But this is my question when it comes to the wash sector, that's water, sanitation, and hygiene. I have a program here that many a times they call us call from Grand Bazaar and say, one of our challenges is we don't have safe drinking water. Sometimes people have to save the water before get it clean before it, which of course is very dangerous for the health. So what are your plans for the wash sector?
Thank you.
So and seeing, the entire Monrovia, Irim, the former president tweeted about the entire sanitation issue in Liberia. What plan do you have to manage this waste management and the water and sanitation project in Liberia?
Thank you. So we know, and I'm glad you brought this up, because the wash sector, it is a critical sector because it's directly linked to our health. This has been a crisis that goes back to the former ministry, where for some reason we have not been able to ensure clean, healthy, adequate pipe-borne water. There will be some communities where there will have to be wells, right? There will be some communities where we can get pumps and drink and ensure safe drinking water through adequate pumps. This is some of the things that we have been doing in Bassa before I came on to the national sector. We have a program called Dignity in Water. And so we, the team Brumskin, has been allotting a certain amount of money. I don't know how many communities my team knows in Buchanan where we've gone to rehabilitate wells and pumps to ensure that at least those who won't have access to pipe-borne water at least have access to clean drinking water. It's been a priority of ours. Mr. Cummings and I will be sitting shortly to talk about what's our vision for actually ensuring in cities like Monrovia, in cities like Buchanan, in cities like Ganta, where people can have access to pipe-borne water and not just wells and water pumps. Let's talk about sanitation. Sanitation is something that, look, it not only is it a health crisis, but it's an embarrassment. When you see dump piles in the capital city everywhere, and it's something that can be easily curable. Number one of the biggest issues that we have that we don't talk about it, and I have one right in front of me, the plastic, the water that we're. We need to make sure, because right now the waters that we are using, the water bottles, are clogging up our economy, our environment, our drinks. There are recycling companies. There is one, I'm not going to name it right now because they're not Liberian, and I'm very pro Liberian businesses. But what they are doing, they are actually recycling bottles and the sachets. So they were telling me how in Bassa or in Monrovia, you bring the water sachets in, and they give you, I forget how much they give you per sachet, and then they recycle it and make plastic chairs. This is a brilliant idea in terms of minimizing our waste. We want to make sure that we start to, even the government should do something like this. The government should tell Liberian men, women, and children, for every plastic bottle you bring, we will have a recycling bin. We will give you something for it. What it does is increases jobs and it reduces the amount of waste that we see. Also, we should ensure when we reduce things like corruption, waste, fraud, and abuse, we increase the funds that can be allocated to sanitation within the cities. It is simply a matter of political will. Again, it's not brain surgery to make sure that we have sanitation trucks picking up trash and garbage from different communities, or that we have containers or piles where our citizens can make sure they go and dump. Kigami.
Oh.
I know that, I don't know if it's monthly, but it's a regular thing that he does in Rwanda, where they will do where Mayor Bro started, they will do cleanups. He and his government will walk and clean, and they will not, take vehicles that day. They will ride bikes. It begins with the leadership, letting the people know we are serious about these kinds of things. So these are some of the small little ways that we can do it. Mr. Kump, but what I wish I could give you, and I cannot give it to you today, but I will promise I will give it to you, is a WASH policy. What's our actual plan? Because what I've given you today are ideas, but we need to give her a WASH policy that your women's group can probably review and also advise us. This is something, this is good, but then we have experience knowing this is not right, and we need to do this better. So,
okay,
yeah. So let me drop one.
Yes.
Let me take you back to the U.S. where you were currently attending a convention, and then this question came about divided opposition.
Yes.
And your response was there is strength in the opposition.
Yes.
And I really want you to explain what you mean by that, because I mean, everyone believes in Liberia, seem to be corrected, that the opposition is divided. And if you have the opportunity to reach to the runoff, will you have the face to ask other parties to support you? So what do you mean by there is strength in the opposition when we on ground know the reality that the opposition is divided?
Thank you. So the question came from Mr. Botti from VOA. VOA. And when I say, because I think his premise was that it's difficult to remove an incumbent, especially where the opposition is divided.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, I want to disabuse Liberians of this notion that it's impossible to remove an incumbent. It happens. It's happened in Ghana. It's happened in Gambia. It's happened, and we can do it here if Liberians choose to do so. Number one. Number two, this idea of the opposition, we are certainly divided, right? But this is a democracy. This is our very nature of politics is based on a multi-political state. We are not a two-party state. We have different parties. So there will always be the incumbent, and then the rest will be the opposition. I remember before my position as vice senator bearer, even before I decided to run, people would say, oh, we are opposition. I would say, what is an opposition? What am I opposed to? Am I opposed to George Weah being president? No. Am I opposed to his ideologies and what his administration is doing? Yes. So even within opposition, let's not play. Let's not pretend. When the CPP, I'm going to say something controversial here. When the CPP was initially formed, I didn't think it would be sustainable because the idea behind the CPP was simply to remove the president. That cannot be an ideology upon which a political institution is based. So this idea that opposition will all stand together, can we first and foremost decide that the oppositions have a similar platform, that we share a vision for a better Liberia? That's the first one. Because my goal is not simply to say, I'm putting anybody there just to move George Weah. No, I'm being unfair to Liberians, and we are not being sincere. But what we should say is those of us who are opposed to the current administration and how they have governed this country, we share a vision on what a better administration will look like. And I do believe that if the opposition, right, some of the larger parties, because we got to say 20-something parties, start to have real dialogue and real conversations, as opposed to, because right now we're not, and every Liberian knows it. Right now, every day the Unity Party people are attacking me. And I always say it, more than the CDC. The UP has their engine, 2 shows, online shows. They're on me every day. CDC, not. And they have I don't know why. So perhaps we need to stop the vitriol, stop the negativity. Let's have real conversations around what a changed and a new Liberia looks like.
So in this, what I think she was alluding to this is this factor, and we just say it's very crucial. George Weah is an incumbent. George Weah is powerful. George Weah has the resources. Mm-hmm. He's on his way for the re-elections. That's what it shows like.
Okay.
In the face of
a fracture
opposition,
that's fracture.
That's fracture.
Mm-hmm. Can we move him?
And they're making this chorus of George Weah going to be the one-term president. I don't see that possible.
It's not possible. Everybody
and they are each other's throat. They have 2 nightwear on you every day, on commies every time.
Mm-hmm.
How can you move this guy? We have the 5th of August is the beginning of campaign. What concerted effort do you people have in place?
Let me give you, I like to give stories. I was in Ghana last week, and I was at the airport, and some young Liberians who were visiting, who were students in China, were on their way back to Liberia, stopped me, was like talking. And then when we were going to board the airport, one whispered in my ear. He said, no matter what, please, if you don't go in the second round, support the opposition. And he explained to me why. I want Liberians who feel that they have to that there has to be an opposition unity to know that it is highly likely that in second round, whoever goes into second round will support the other. This is why I'm saying we need to start talking about the real issues and stop going at each other's throats, so that if we go in the second round, we know Unity Party will come and support us. This is what we need to do. So the Unity Party people who are listening, y'all hear us. I'm not your enemy. Nobody here to attack you. We have a shared goal, which is to do what? Bring a better Liberia. I would hope we have similar ideologies. If we don't, come talk to me and Mr. Cummings. Take some of our ideas. Let's take some of your ideas. But this politics as usual, this thing where we it's not going to help at all. So we can do it. Lastly, let me liken it to make some people to feel better. Yeah? Some people in the opposition. Look at the US democracy, which ours is somewhat modeled after. We know that whenever they go to national presidential elections, there are primaries within the party that will be going against the incumbent. So right now, our man Biden is going to be running again. This is what we're hearing. We know Republicans are having their primaries right now. Trump and what a man from Florida, DeSantis, all these people, you know, Chris Christie, he and Trump just had a big blowout. But at the end of the day, they will select one, and that person will go against Biden. So Liberians don't lose hope. If the majority of the population truly are ready for change, we'll give it to you.
Chris, you're going for a telephone. I want to do this so that we get a clear understanding of what it is. So Cummings wins, or Cummings goes to we are in the second round. Is it possible that Cummings goes to we are or we are goes with Biker, or we are this out?
Well, I don't understand your question. You're asking me to predict who will go in the second round? A prediction as to who will go in the second round.
Let's.
I really have a prediction, but I don't want to say. I know we are going. We, CPP, we're going in the second round.
You go in the second round?
We're going in the second round. And I feel very strongly about who we'll be meeting, but I'm not talking again. They're like Brent Porty side. We're going in the second round. There are so many silent. Look, I don't have to play to seat. I'm not have to lie. When I'm in the streets, when I'm at the restaurants, when I'm in the supermarket, people can come. We're supporting you all. I'm not going to be scared of talking. The number of
other government people working in government. Why would they be shy to say, no, I'm supporting you? Maybe some are.
You know, the messages, we do get a lot of messages, you know, I can't talk, I can government. I don't think the president or the vice president are bad people. And I know I've sat with the Madam Vice President, and I know she loves this country. I think that they have not succeeded. They have not achieved success. The Liberian people expected certain things. They didn't give it to them. And that's fine. Now, pass the baton. We've given you 6 years. You made some inroads, but you didn't meet the expectations of the Liberian people. And I think the people understand it, especially in Monserrato. They get it. They're not, don't say I'm not happy. I see here on Monday. Because Liberian people, we know crowd does not equal vote. We are people who are jobless. Let's be very frank. I mean, we need to really be honest with ourselves. A vast majority of Liberian people don't have formal sector jobs. In the informal sector, we will go to occasions where we think we get something to eat, we get drink, we get t-shirt, look, these are the things that attract people. But we know what happens on Monday is not any indication of elections. Liberian people want something better. They certainly will not go back to 18 years. So we'll win.
Okay, so this is State of the Nation is 17 minutes or up to 5 o'clock. Let's take at least 7 callers on this segment. Councillor Charlie Bronskin is the standard bearer of the CPP, and of course to Mr. Alexander Bennett Cummings in these elections, and we are on State of the Nation. So Magdalene will manage the calls, and the first 7 callers will be processed, and then we come back. The standard bearer will address those questions. Let's hear you.
Yeah, hello.
is half of being cared. So my
Yes, sir.
question to the minority students, when you started getting from the way to the was it happy with you not following the full step and just wanting to jump to the presidency? And do you think it is the pharmaceutical time to become vice president? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I mean, we continue to speak against tribalism. Okay. Yeah. Hello. Yes, sir. It's good to have you on. Yes, it's good to have you on. Yeah. Okay. 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 All right. Yeah. Hello. You say I wait for your monitor? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. This is the
Yes, sir.
I start so quietly and I did very well. I met you. I want to ask you this question. This is what I want to do. We are aware that it's something that we have to put on a new one or a new one to start a new one. So, what is it?
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Hello. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Actually, I just want to answer a few questions. As a youth of the nation, we all know that we have to forward for change, and we are seeing the jobs increasing on a daily basis. So, what change are you bringing to the table? And also, so just on this point about opportunity, I think the problem for the Unity Party because every now and then we see posts from the Unity Party, always attacking Charlie Broski.
Okay. Okay.
Also trying for opportunity, we will not allow anyone to attack. If they come after or go after Charlie. Thank you.
Well, we continue to preach peace. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Yes, sir. Good to have you on.
Thank you. My name is James Walker. So I want to thank you, but I think and know how really this conversation provides providing for. So I want to challenge those because and practice for what ideas, what different
Your question is
That's a
taking.
good
Let
question.
me call you. Yeah, let me call you right there, Chief. Yeah. Hello.
Good afternoon, and let me say good evening to your studio guests. My name is Joseph Yonley.
Yes, sir.
I'm populist, and I join you from my district 10 resident district.
Yeah, please go on.
Let me appreciate the DSC in studio as you operated very well. And I think because of Bronski, we've been saying these things and we've been trying to put the message of this. I think the opponents is trying to reach back to the elaborate politics. Because if you look at the recycling politicians, the recycling criminals that in government, we still
to see that they keep bringing the same old message. When you look at the CPP government, you see Mr. Kuru, from the government background, you see Castle Boston, who is a liberal practitioner, who is a person who is in terms of legislative policy. I want the PhD to speak on this. And one day we listen to all these people here, the vice president, saying that he doesn't have voting right to influence Senator if you elect as vice president and he automatically be the president of the Liberian Senate. What difference would you bring to the leadership of our country in the Liberian Senate?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hello. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. All right. Let me.
So she'll take three more, and then we'll go to.
Hello. Hello. Yes, sir. Yes, we'll have you on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think the person meant if your father would have been alive, what will he do in this case? Will he be like the same way the U.S. ambassador said? If J.D. Roberts was alive, what would he have said concerning the age of Liberia? With the so. Okay. You said that question? Oh, okay, let me take another phone. Hello. Yes, sir. Okay, let me take the call quick. Abraham, are you there? Hello. Hello. Yes, sir. It's good to have you on. Yeah, you Manuel. Quickly.
Thank you for the vice president office. I want to appreciate you. I want to appreciate you for the analysis on national issues. So I have a question on issues of job creation,
Okay.
Thank you so much. The volume of calls is coming. We can sustain it. As a matter of fact, I didn't have any idea as to what was happening outside. My advice is still better. The outside is Grand Park, and the folks, most of them, the very young people that you refer to, are out there waiting. I'm amazed about the proper,
all along university, I didn't
know the South. The compound out there is
wow.
busy.
Those are the
concerns of the very people
Yes.
who stay in the pews, then go there to put you on election day. You heard them.
Yes.
Let's address them.
Okay.
One by
Thank you to all of the callers. And let me start with the gentleman who asked. I think the first caller. Will my father be happy if he were to come from the grave? You know, that question doesn't offend me. I think it's important that I ask the question, and I want him to listen very carefully. Councillor Brumskin always said to me, and always believed, that the growth of a nation can be measured on the progress of our children. He always believed that every generation should be better than the next. So the idea that I did not follow my father's footsteps is actually comical and very funny, because I very much followed his footsteps. He was a professor of law. I teach at the law school. He ran a law firm. I run a law firm. He got into politics. I have entered politics. He loved and believed in Liberia. So not only would he be proud of me, but he would say, my daughter, I started as senator because my father started his political career as senator. He would say, my daughter, but you did what I told you to do. You went above. So Papa, he would be very happy for me. And another reason I know is because his wife still living. And every day she tells me that this is what my father would have wanted, and she's proud of me. So someone, District 14 called, what inspired me to join politics and what major challenges the country is facing? So when the veteran asked, when Tima asked in the beginning, you know, why did I leave Buchanan? Why did I come to this level? Why did I even start? I believe in life as a Christian woman. I believe that God, you know, when God blesses us, that it is our responsibility, it's incumbent on us to bless others. I also am the kind of person, every environment I said, every room I go, I want to make sure I impact positively. I have worked in my career. I've become a counselor at law. Not only did I become counselor at law, you know, I scored the highest in the Supreme Court bar exam. My firm is growing in terms of the clientele, the client base. I've helped to draft policies for this country. I've mentored, I sent children to school, I built house. I mean, I have done everything that I can to help the country, even building the house, the economy, I pay taxes, right? But there is more I could have done. I couldn't just sit in Liberia and eat off the fat of the land and not sacrifice and give back. And that's why I decided to join politics, because I felt that is a way that I could quickly and more strongly impact change. So that's why that was what inspired me. The country's challenges, I talked about it, jobs, drugs, healthcare, roads. I talked about all of that. They want your part. Thank you. The Unity Party people will not come back again. Let it be very clear. Let it be very clear on the CWA Mama tuition. Uncle Joe, the former vice president, Joseph Nyimon-Boakai, never paid Mama school fees. Y'all listen to it, you. So y'all can take it. He never paid her school fees. What I said was that when he was a registrar at CWA, my mother was raised by a single woman. There were days my grandmother did not have money to pay her tuition because my mother was such a smart girl. Joseph Boyka, who was registered at the time, would allow her time to pay. They never put her out of school. Allow her time to come and find the money. But to say that someone else paid, because the woman who raised Mama, Amia Hutchison, on the rocks of Mama Point, the zinc shack, the zinc house that Mama grew up, Mama didn't grow up in a cement house. It was a zinc house in Mama Point. For you to take away from my grandmother what she did to give it to Joseph Boyka is not correct. What Uncle Joe did was he gave her time, and I thank him for that. I have that relationship with him. He said, we'll not put her out. But he never took his money and paid Mama tuition. So Unity Party, you're stop it. And sometimes you're also make it seem as if it's something embarrassing. They have actually made it seem like Mama should be embarrassed because her mother could not pay her tuition. So you're stop it. He never paid her tuition. My grandmother cleaned floors. She cleaned floors to send her daughter to school. Now, Samuel Dixon, drugs has increased. Yes, he said Unity Party attacking me. That is true. We talked about the drugs thing. This man asked a very good question. And it was, every time I get these questions, I take them back. Let me call it one James Walker, District 11. He said, you are a legal expert. What transparency and accountability measures will you put in place for the VSB office? So, James, I will say I'm not prepared to answer that question because that's a policy question. And it's, I love it. So I will take this back. I mean, I can give you a political answer. The political answer will be that I myself intend to make sure that we are transparent, that Mr. Cummings and I have decided that this culture of impunity and corruption, we will continue to do all that we can to eradicate it by leading, making sure that when there is corruption, if I see corruption in my office, that we're not just transferring that person, we fire them. But this question here is something that is policies can be drawn from. So James, I will make sure that I probably will not speak to you again, but I will make sure that I take this question and present it to our policy team. Let's sit and talk about it. How can we ensure that the vice president's office is actually utilizing the monies, the budgetary allotment for the rightful purpose? So other than what we've talked about before, let me speed up. CDC versus UP. He asked, who would we support in the second round? This goes, every time we are on with this question of opposition unity comes up, and my answer will never deviate. It will not deviate. First of all, the assumption that there's only two opposition parties, and that is Unity Party and CPP, and that we must come together. It depends on a lot of factors. A lot can happen in 3 months. Let Jeff be very frank. Plenty of things can happen.
You come together on principles.
We come together. Yeah, but we need to start the conversation now. This is what I said. We need to start talking now. I need to understand. I need to know that Unity Party also is serious about opposition unity. I need to know that Unity Party is going to talk the issues and not attack me and Mr. Cummings. Unity Party sent people in Bassa to go say Mr. Cummings is not straight. I mean, the kind of dirty propaganda. So how are we going to lead? Look what Unity Party is doing right now. We're in a Liberty Party crisis. If we want to toss them, so Unity Party has to also show that they're ready to move this country forward. And if they show it to us, I can tell them that Mr. Cummings and I, we know we're going the second round. But if we believe that we share a vision for this country, then we will ensure that our partisans support them. But we need to see it. UP needs to start leading by example. They've been in their politics before. Let us start leading by example, starting with this campaign period.
I think she's still
exhausted.
I think she's done with that, and
yeah,
I think she's done. So let me continue.
Wait, okay. The last I want to talk about, this young person talked about youth empowerment, and I think it's important because the young people, as you just said, Chris, young people waiting outside. The young people they want something better. It is a youthful generation that voted president we are in, and they were disappointed. So they are still hoping. So let me explain to them. Number one, youth empowerment, right? When we think of youth empowerment, we have to start talking first and foremost. Before we even get to job creation, we have to train you all, because we cannot have a whole generation of young people who don't have the skill, the education skill, or the technical know-how. Even if we bring jobs, let's say after this, Mr. Cummings goes, we're elected, we go and sit across the table with the prime minister of some of the biggest countries, and we bring jobs because they like what we have to say. But our youth are not prepared because they've been out of school, unemployed, underskilled. Job skills training is the first and foremost. Vocational skills training, and then improving the quality of our education. We cut waste, we cut the corruption, and we prioritize education. Our education budget needs to be increased so that our teachers, we attract stronger teachers who can teach our children. We create jobs. I'm talking very, very quickly. We create jobs through agriculture, through entrepreneurship. Mr. Cummings has repeatedly talked about this $20 million USD fund for youth and women. We want to make sure that our young people, the way we expand our economy is by making sure Liberians have a stake in the economy. That young people who have the creativity, the innovation to have their own businesses, we provide the support and the funding. Quickly, I know you're rushing. It hurt my heart so much. I went to Ghana. I keep talking about this Ghana thing. I went to Ghana last week. I was in Ghana. I had to go to a pharmacy late one night. Nice, equipped, beautiful pharmacy. Who runs it? Who owns it? Ghanaians. Ghanaians have taken control of the economy. Liberians, you do not have control of your economy. I have friends who are Lebanese. I have friends who are Indian. I am not racist. I am not pushing like Lebanese or Liberians out, but our government needs to create systems where we empower Liberians and we don't suppress them. I have men and women friends, Liberian friends, who cannot get contracts with government because they're not doing the kickbacks or because they're not in CDC. So we need to change. We need to empower our young people, empower Liberians. It's a long story. I won't get to it now because I know we have to move on.
Yeah, let me drive this thing in. Cummings, when you vice president, what kind of vice president will be? Armchair vice president, or a vice president will be argumentative to the president? Because you would be the first. You would be the first to be in the room and the last to leave the room. What kind of vice president will you be? Let me make that reference. Uncle Joe said he was a vice president. He know how much to do. Will you be that sort of president who will sit down, don't do anything, that don't want to confront the president, do the will of the president? Because our constitution says, in unequivocal terms, the vice president helps the president.
Absolutely. This is his show. Let's just be frank. The president is the head. He's the captain. He is the pilot, right? We are here to help. But I think and the vice president. I am a strong personality. That my point I could not put. We were not in the same law firm because me, me. Campaign time me, I small fight my part. I used to fight that. I didn't do the one to do, right? I have a very strong personality. Mr. Cummings, I've been working right before I was in Vata Market. I had to run to have a quick meeting with him and some of the campaign team and then come here. I told him something. Yes, I sent him a message. I wasn't happy about something. So he said, come let meet. So we sat. There were 4 of us, Mr. Cummings, myself, and 2 other people. And his demeanor is such. The men are cool. The men cool. You know, women can be more emotional. We emote a lot. So he listened to me. I was very strong in how I felt. I told him. And he accommodates. But he accommodates based on his own judgment. He will not give me everything I want. He will decide, is this best for the campaign? Is it best for Liberia? So Mr. Cummings knew all of this. Mr. Cummings, that's not your first time knowing me. I am out there. I feel strongly. I told you before, I am a reconciliatory person, but when I say I come in to fight, I will fight you with everything I have. I'm a very strong personality. He knew knew this. He decided to pick me. We complement each other very well. I do not intend on being, you know, I don't want to use that pop card, but I intend on having a partnership with Mr. Cummings, obviously knowing that he is leading. I'm there to support him. But I think he's the kind of person where if I say to him, they want you to not correct, he will take. And let me say something to you. I don't know if I should reveal this. 2 years ago, it was 2022 when Liberty Party was in a crisis. A lot of things were happening. Something Mr. Cummings did that the LP members did not like. This was 2 years ago. I sat with him and I said, Mr. Cummings, you shouldn't have done that. And he sat and he said, I know. He admitted that that one thing he did didn't bode well with the Liberty Partisans. He didn't take offense. I will not advise them better. This was before Buchanan. But that's the kind of person he is. He can take correction. So we will have a good relationship.
So you win. What would be your first order of business? Georgia won the elections, didn't audit, didn't bring anybody to book. He met an empty vault. What would be your first order of business?
So the Cummings Brumskin ticket, right? Mr. Cummings has been very clear that there will be an audit. And the audit is not to attack the current administration. You're talking about
you were letting know you're coming, right?
What is the last part? I know there were some issues about
so somebody has problem. Why one of these parties said they will audit. No matter what they do, they will audit this government.
And let me say to the government, to those who are supporting, who are listening, it's not about you. This is not saying, we're not coming to say you are corrupt or you stole our money. We'll see what you did with the money. The Liberian people deserve to know where their money went. We need to understand those who are in government, that's not your money. That money is for us. We who are citizens who buy our rice and we got to pay tax. We buy cement, we got to pay tax. We buy gas, we got to pay tax. That's your money. You're working for the Liberian people. So the Liberian people had a right. They deserve to have a leader who will say, let's account for how the Liberian people money has been spent. And then also, let's provide information and transparency to Liberian people so they know what we're starting with. Are we starting with 0? Are we starting with 500? so that we can better prepare for the Liberian people. We need to stop taking things so personally here. We need to stop. We need to be more mature about our politics.
And then, like I said, lastly for my side, many, I'm already packing. Many, I mean, we've been hearing around say, the cousin ready a CPP for embarrassment by accepting a bystander bearer position. What do you have to say about that?
I don't think I see.
How much money does Cummings give you?
Cummings gave me 300. I mean, every day they're talking about I was gonna make a joke, but then knowing somebody they would take that little sound bite. We thought you should say Cummings give her money. Cummings did not give me any money. And so my sister Magdalene, thank you for asking this question. I think it would sound arrogant of me to say I saved CPP. I didn't save CPP. I think that Liberia needed someone who represented all of these different groups, the women, the youth, MAGDALENE, even though we're not talking tribe here, but we talk geopolitics. And I was given an opportunity. And that's why when you'll see me every day on a Facebook Live, you'll see I'm working. CPP are working. I'll not make your shimo. So, it's an honor. It's a privilege. It's a privilege, man. It's a privilege. I don't take it lightly. So I don't think I was the one who saved CPP, but I think CPP saw something in me, and I have to prove something to our people.
Okay. 10 minutes after. T-Max, you can take a minute to conclude your interaction with the Vice Bearer.
Okay, so let me close this way. Our country is in crisis.
Yes,
and we are not an exception to what the whole world faces. Somebody said when you're a spectator, you see more fouls in the game than when you are a player. Realistically, has Georgia done a good job?
Okay.
Given the situation we find ourselves, has he done money come off a good job? Or has he done anything that if he leaves history books and the pages of history, we will say, at least he did this. At least he didn't do this.
Yeah.
What will you give him?
I think that President Weah, I think, as you said, it's difficult. It is not an easy task to lead this nation. I think what President Weah brought to the presidency, and something I do appreciate him, he never divided us along tribal lines and politics lines, He was someone who I believe, I don't think Weah is a bad person.
But sometimes he gets pissed off.
He gets pissed off.
He told Yuri, as long as I'm here, Yuri wouldn't be anything. He said that. Yeah. He was pissed off, right?
Yeah. And I mean,
it could be anybody.
It could be anybody. But I'm not yet to
just like your father told.
You want me to can't campaign for
just like your father told Uncle Bagger.
Yeah.
Uncle Bagger. Let's forget about this damn Concord and country.
Yes. My papa he said that
yes.
Yeah. So people can get upset. I think that, I was talking to someone about this last night. I said that the SELLEE administration ensured security. They brought us out of a war-torn country. They gave stability. I think, but there were some shortfalls in that administration. I think President Weah gave the Liberian people what they wanted. And y'all know what they wanted? They wanted him. The people wanted Weah. They got John Weah.
Generational leadership.
They wanted him. And now it is no longer about him. They got him. They got what they wanted. For 2005, 2011.
Do you blame Weah for what the situation is, or you blame Weah disciples?
Because let me just conclude on because I don't want people to misinterpret. They got the man. They wanted him. They believed that he represented Liberians. They got him. They fought for him for 3 years. They got him. I think they're ready to. I think they can hang their hat now. Thank you, Ugayu. It's time to move on. I'm not a member of the government. I'm not privy to the inner circle of CDC. So I don't know if it was him or if it were the people around him, but it doesn't matter. He was the leader. And from what I've heard, that means he's strong-willed. So if you are strong-willed, there's no way your people can influence you. President Weah should have terminated relationships with some of his close confidants years ago. President Weah should have brought people in from the opposition to work with him years ago. President Weah had so much grace. and love with the people. What he should have done was just let that grace flow on him and gotten some strong hardliners, brilliant people who didn't support him, but who he knew could move this country forward. You know what President Weah would be telling it? So I think that was something he did not do well. I don't think he was inclusive in his administration. But I do think that he didn't bring tribal, he didn't divide, he divided us politically, but he didn't divide us along tribal lines. I think he gave the Liberian people a belief that anyone can do it. And we thank him for that. And now let's give another person a chance.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so it's 15 minutes after 5 o'clock, and we've come to the end of this special interview on State of the Nation on Truth FM 96.1 with the Vice Standard Bearer of the CPP, the Collaborating Political Parties, Councillor Charlie Bromskin. At some point, Councillor, when you smile, when you laugh, it's like no, just like a father.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
I don't know how laughter can be hereditary.
Wow.
So Bromskin was beautiful.
Wow.
But she laughs kind of like the
You can't, I don't see it. But people always, they say you talk like the man, you move it. I don't see it. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it. Mind you, we got 2 weeks to keep this ball rolling. The referee is in the dressing room already. They release all the players' names to various parties or independent. The spectators are waiting and they're buying their ticket ready to enter the stadium to see.
And they're making their bets.
They're making their bets.
Yeah, who will win? Going through various betting companies, the bet and
Yes.
who's going to win. And I hope you guys are prepared. As a matter of fact, I passed somewhere yesterday. I saw you. You guys are very prepared. Thank you so much for coming. So this is a sign off signature tone. It is titled Mama Prepare for Your Freedom. Of course, we take it from Sarafina. Yes, we take Sarafina. And a portion of Martin Luther King's speech. On every mountainside, let freedom ring.
So I'm gonna be here tomorrow.
I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay.
Wow, this was great. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
He will be able to speed up that day when all the children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last,